Hi everyone, this is Jeremy with The Fastest Man Alive. This is part 3 of our interview with Joe Cross. Be sure you check out the previous videos and all of them so you can see the interview in its entirety. Again, we thank Joe for his time and we hope you enjoy.
Joe, how much did you exercise on your fast?
I didn't do any planned or trained exercise, but it's a great question because I get asked that a lot now. And what I did is making a movie is a lot of exercise because, you know, I interviewed over 350 people, and in order to get or allow people to feel comfortable with me, I had to stand there and tell my story, which usually took 45 minutes. So I'm standing there, we're doing a couple of, reverse angles this side, and then they're telling me their story. So I would be standing and walking around on my feet for 8 to 10 hours a day. So that was a fair bit of exercise. That was certainly more than I used to do in terms of sitting at my desk at my computer, right? So during the 60-day reboot that you see in the movie, no planned exercise at all. However, nowadays, if I'm, rebooting, which is, I look at my, you take a whole year, say 365 days. I'd say for the last 4 years, I've probably juiced only, like what I would call the reboot, for probably about 15% of a year. So call it 60 days all up every year. So it's either 10 or 15 days in stints, or maybe some 20s or 25s. I haven't gone past 30 days. 30 days since I've done some longer ones. And the rest of the time, so I sort of look at it, 15% of the year I'm juicing only, and the rest of the time I'm living the way that I described earlier, which was trying to eat mostly plants and then the other foods that I bring in. So nowadays when I'm doing that, I love exercising. The body is built for movement. I feel fabulous when I'm rebooting, and now I feel like I've got a lot of energy. I'm looking at this park down here in Austin where we are, and there's this running track, and I'd love to be able to get out and have a run this morning. I blew my knee out the other day, so I've got to just take it easy with the running. But I was up to 6 miles a day and just loving it. And that was from not being able to run probably for 15 years.
Wow. What surprised you the most during your fast?
What surprised me the most during the whole 60 days? I think what surprised me the most was how quickly my body responded to sort of going from, what I would call in the valley to being on top of the mountain, and just being, I call it human 2.0. I got to experience really what it was like to be human, to be able to smell, to be able to see, to be able to hear, to be able to put my head on a pillow and go to sleep, to be able to wake up and not have knees and hips and ankles, joints that were aching. It was really the response and the speed at which the body just came back to how it's supposed to be. Really, now I've learnt what actually really happened was that all the inflammation that I had going on, that fluid that was sort of being kept and surrounded on my body, just was able to finally let loose and be used up and, dissipated through either sweat, through urine, through just dispelling it from the body.
Yeah, that was a lot of my experiences. During my reboot was just how quickly it adapted and how quickly it felt completely different.
I mean, it's an amazing organism that we're given. We only get one of them,
That's right.
So, I got a saying that we spend the first 40 years of our life trying to kill ourselves, the next 40 trying to stay alive. And I was the poster boy for that, let me tell you.
You mentioned about your original intention for doing the movie was to kind of hold yourself accountable and be your motivation.
Yeah.
And that's building our website and doing our blog was that for us. So I wonder if you could maybe talk a little bit more about that, your thought process about holding yourself accountable and having that.
Yeah, like there was really two reasons that I'd thought about the movie. When I heard from Professor Ron Penny, who's the Australian doctor in the movie towards the end, when he said to me, he said, Joe, 70% of all disease is caused by lifestyle choices. I went, wow, I really hope that my disease falls into that category. In other words, I hope that the reason that I'm sick is because what I'm doing to my body. Because if that's the case, then there's a chance to repair. 30% of all disease The flip side of that statement is that it's genetic, and it's just the luck of the draw of the genetic swap that you got from your mum and dad. Okay, and what they got from theirs, and so on and so on. And so I was really excited and motivated by, wow, maybe I can do something about this, because for 8 years I was outsourcing my health to other people. I was like saying, here's money, fix me. Please make me well. I'm just going to keep going along my life of eating burgers and fries and pizzas and Coca-Cola and smoking cigarettes and drinking beer, but here's some money and please fix me. Right? So once I got my head around that, and I sort of realized that I could do something about this, I thought, wow, not only if I put a camera on myself, it'll make me accountable to the camera, which was kind of like my community, because I didn't have one when I got started. Although I did say to my girlfriend and my family, you know, I need support and so on, which they obviously did in huge amounts. But what I then also thought was, my dad is an orthopedic surgeon, my brother's a doctor, my sister was a nurse, my mother was a nurse, and my other brother helps a lot of people. So I figured, you know, well, my whole family is a family of helpers and inspiring others, but I just sort of make money and do investment deals. Yeah, I employ people and give them a job, but realistically, I don't really make that impact in the world. So I thought, if I can put this on camera, and it does, if I'm one of those lucky ones in the 70% where I do get healed, then maybe if this is seen by a bunch of people, it could help and inspire others. So there were kind of the two ideas or thinking or thought processes around making the movie, or why I made the film.
Yeah, we found having that accountability has really helped keep us motivated, and more importantly, just the support of all of us kind of going through it together and being able to share our experiences was tremendous, in us sort of coming on the other side of this and being sort of transformed at the end of this experience.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the fact that, you know, we are, you know, if you think about how old you are, like if I was to ask you how old you are, you're going to give me a year sort of thing, how many years ago you were born. But realistically, you're a lot older than that. I mean, you're a Homo sapien. You know, if you talk to the leading scientists, they'll tell you you're 200,000 years old, like the species of Homo sapien. And if you're part of the humanoids, we're like 4 million years old. So we've evolved over this period of time, and mostly what we've done is we've mostly eaten plant food, we've mostly eaten in groups, we've mostly been in communities where we've shared, we've mostly lived a time where calories were the single most important thing in our life. Like everything we did was about getting calories and energy so that we could, as a team and as a group, share together so that we could propagate. You need to put air, water and food into your body. Air's in abundance, so there was no real effort to find air, which is why, you know, you breathe in, you breathe out. Water, well, you know, short supply, but we did pretty well, and we could sort of stay by water, and we hung there, and it fell from the sky every now and then too. Food was a different story. Food was more scarce than those two. And so we really needed to work together to do that. So the idea of community, the idea of support, the idea of getting together and helping each other, that's innate in the human spirit. So, you know, very, very difficult to just do this and be an island.